The refreshing taste of big round numbers. What's going on, everybody? I hope you guys are having an absolutely fantastic time wherever you are in the metaverse. Today is a pretty special day as we just hit 500,000 subscribers here on the channel. It is only a number in many ways, but it has been a very long journey for myself here on the channel, for the community. It's quite a special day, I think. And right here, as we're sort of pushing all-time highs, as we're starting to really see a tipping point in adoption of cryptocurrency, adoption in specific around the metaverse and gaming and NFTs, the things that I really believe are the most important innovations in the space to bring in, well, not most important, but the most likely to bring in users. It's quite a special moment indeed. The way the market's set up right now, the way that companies are jumping hook, line, and sinker into the metaverse, the way that this community is prepared. Obviously, if you've been watching this channel for the last 4 years almost, you'll be very, very well prepared for the journey that lies ahead. So today is a very special day here. We're going to celebrate a little bit, lots of Q&A, lots of interaction with the community today. It's really what I care about. Obviously, if you guys are interested here, and I don't know why this number sometimes goes down like it is right now. Maybe people just unsubscribing for fun because I'm showing it up here. But the reality is that this is, I think, the most powerful community in the entire internet. We have built, and we have not only built this amazing strength within this community, but we've also influenced other communities and inspired some of the biggest crypto communities in the world to take Metaverse seriously. We've helped bring about awareness of NFTs, Metaverse, different technologies, and really been the I apologize. The tip of the spear here. As you can see, I've been talking nonstop for 4 years, and my vocal cords need a little break. But yeah, I guess all I can say is big thank you to you guys. It's been such an amazing journey. Every day I get to wake up and do what I love. Every day I get to interact with a space that I love. And it's all because you guys watch these videos and you smash the like button, like I'm going to ask you to do right now. The likes you guys have been giving to the content, the support for the content has been absolutely crazy, absolutely nuts. The amount of support that you guys have been giving to the channel, especially since, May, we had our tough time, our setback, the reply guys and the sort of short-term opportunists cycled out. And we built this just amazing sort of wonderland community starting in June. It was even a new community that formed that wasn't around earlier. And I think the community right now is one of the strongest it's ever felt. It's one of the most productive and I think informative. And so it's just a really amazing moment. I just wanted to share it with you guys. I have a lot of reflections. Obviously, I will get to a ton of content. We have a great episode for you showing about the settling of the market, about funding rates going down, the liquid supply shock ratio, and amazing things like Disney jumping into the metaverse. Just amazing, amazing stuff going on. But I wanted to just keep it glued here for a second and talk a little bit about the journey here. Just so you guys understand, what has been the experience here on the channel. If we go to the oldest videos, and please don't judge me by these, but I do wear it like a badge of honor, right? We had a lot of really bad content coming out at the beginning. And what I had from the beginning was just such a passion for this space. And I sometimes go back and watch these old videos, and it is super embarrassing to see my blown out hair and my lack of understanding of how to really form content. But it is very, very important that I, treasure the journey that I've been on to learn more about this space, to become a true obsessive observer, and to help my community become the best community out there in terms of knowledge, in terms of opportunity, in terms of growth. So yeah, I mean, the first videos, you can see the channel was created in January 2018, and that was the worst part of the bear market that was just starting. So I started my channel. I think a better chart to show this is the Ethereum chart, because I think Ethereum peaked right there. But the day I started my channel was literally the top of the altcoin market of 2018, because we started on January, well, actually maybe whatever, it was right here. It was January 3rd, 2018. So it started, Ethereum pumped up to like its highest high ever. And then we got pretty much, this was the amount of time we had to wait. And even during this time here, it wasn't until probably like mid 2020 that all of a sudden things started feeling and really just growing again. So there was these 3 years pretty much, or these 2.5 years of pretty much nothing, right? And it was the grind to get through those years, to keep creating content, to keep learning about this space, to keep contributing on the tech side. Those years of grind really kind of shaped who I am today and helped me overcome a lot of mental obstacles and barriers to just grow as a person. So getting here was quite a journey. It's been super, super awesome. And, since what we had here in 2020, it's been a whole different type of growth. It's been a whole type of mainstream attention. I think I had in June 2020, I think I had like 30,000 subscribers from the previous 2.5 years. And then, within about a year now, a year and change, we've had, over 450,000 subscribers come in. And so this has been just a really big period. There's been an amazing community that's formed here. And I believe that we're just starting to sort of lay the bedrock of one of the most important communities in the metaverse, because this goes way further than just watching this YouTube channel. What we're creating here is a group of incredibly articulate, educated, savvy, value-adding users in the metaverse. And it is in many ways like an army of sorts of value creators. And what we will have is an impact on this community, on this movement, as well as on the future worlds, the future digital worlds, I think is almost hard to measure because it's such a big impact. So that's what motivates me every day, is that what we're creating here is quite special. There's over 4,000 of you in the house. You guys could smash this like button. This is just a very sentimental, special stream for me. And I appreciate you guys. We're going to get to a lot of loaded information, but I just kind of wanted to come and hang out here and explain like how this journey has gotten to be where it is. And, I see a lot of content creators that come in, they've come in during a bull run. They've only come in during this chart here. And it's a wildly different experience to come in, flip on the webcam, and just get, tens of thousands of subscribers, because there's just a huge audience. And I think the people who came through the bear market, who really had to cut their teeth in harder times, people like BitBoy, people like Ivan, people like myself, the people who had like to really grind through things, you can see the amount of focus that these people had to use to get through those tough times, and you can see it in the quality of the work. I mean, the reality is that I feel like what we're creating here, the quality of the content, the quality of the information is on its own level, and I've always strived for that, and I will continue to do that. So just wanted to say a big thank you to you guys. This is, obviously it is just a number, but it's a big number, and it's really cool. I do think we're well on the way to 1 million. I really want to hit 1 million here within the next few months. So hopefully we're having that gold plaque celebration in the not too distant future. I see a lot of people spamming the chat. It's only to be expected. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate all you guys. With that said, please destroy that like button, because we're about to get into the content. Enough just vibing out, enough. Oh, yeah. Okay, one last thing. You'll notice below the fold of this video that you could enter to win the 500,000 subscriber celebration. So enter to win. There's a link right there below the video. Let me see if it will let you see it right now. Yes, it will. So if I go in here, you can see right below the video, there is a link here to win. And go ahead and enter. You just ask you for your email address there. So go ahead. It's the gleam.io link. Make sure that you are entered to win. And also make sure you have retweeted my tweet here. And that is this right here will also enter you to win. So make sure you do both of those things, please. And then of course, we're going to send you an email asking if you want to be on the newsletter, which is good for your health. You should do that. Okay. Back to the scheduled programming. Once again, thank you guys so much for coming. Thank you guys so much for the 500, and let's dive in. Okay. Reorienting myself here. Let's get back. Okay, so Bitcoin's down to about 65K. We know we had the flash crash yesterday. We have Ethereum here at about 4750. All seems very, very stable and well in the world. We know that as all-time highs get breached, we get greed entering into the market. People who think we're just going to go wild, straight shot up, no stopping until, of course, 80K, 100K. That's rarely how it's been working. There's been a lot of, all-time high fake outs. And as soon as the market just overwhelms with leverage, there's just going to be dumps. It's every time. So tracking leverage is really, really big. And that's why you can see here when funding gets back to being healthy, meaning that there's less leverage in the market, that's very good for natural price growth. It's also very good for a lengthening cycle. So if you see here, we have the funding rates in green. You can see that it dropped dramatically on November 11th. Down to a very, very low rate compared to where it had been over the previous week. That shows that a lot of the leverage got wiped out in this correction. And when that happens, that essentially allows for the amount of borrowing in the market to be reduced. You can think of this as borrowing against money. As soon as people go over all-time high, instead of putting all of their money in, they try to borrow even more money than they have because they think, okay, it's for sure going up. Let's get leveraged long. And when you do that, it allows for smaller price move to the downside to trigger essentially a liquidation is what they call it. I know there's a lot of new viewers, a lot of new crypto people out there in the audience. And so I want to do my best to inform you and give you a masterful set of tools here that you can use. The reality is crypto is an absolute minefield. And for the newbies, most people have some horror stories about messing up with wallets, sending money to the wrong place, not checking or knowing how to save themselves from getting into trouble in crypto. Again, it is a sign of how early we are, but I'm still going to do my best here on the channel to educate you. We're giving you master classes every day in TA, technical analysis and trading with Crown, and we're going to give you a full beginner there's going to be a 10-part series for beginners coming out on this channel so that you guys can go from complete noob to complete expert. I know that a lot of you in the audience are very, very much so more advanced. So that's obviously not going to be for you, but who knows, maybe you'll pick up some new skills or sort of hone some of your old skills. Next, we have Will Clemente. And by the way, I just had a moment where I even DM'd Will and I was like, your contributions to the space are just fantastic. I just want to say thank you. Will has been crushing it. And he's always coming up with new ways to re-envision and look at the on-chain metrics that are some of the most important in the industry. If you want to know where the money is flowing on the biggest, most important asset, Bitcoin, Will is your guy. And he's constantly coming up with new ways to re-envision, look at, and analyze the data of on-chain metrics. For example, we have a bearish divergence here coming that signaled the price crash of earlier this year, of 2018. And then we have the bullish growth here, as you can see, on the 60-day RSI for the illiquid supply shock ratio. And you can see the rapid reaccumulation of this metric since the crash here in May. So these are things that you want to really understand as how do they end up working out? Where is the actionable results? And when you put it on a chart like this and simplify it, you can start to see, okay, here's the bullish formation, here's the bearish formation, and here's a super bullish formation. And these things are really, really very, very useful, right, for understanding how to play the market. Illiquid supply shock ratio shows when there's just not enough Bitcoin on the market, and it usually means that the price is going to move violently to the upside. And that's what we have seen over the last, since May and the collapse. And essentially the shakeout, we've seen pretty violent upside moves here. We've seen just an amazing, this is a great chart. This is an absolutely fantastic chart. What happens next, we will find out, but this is a phenomenal chart since May. And you can see it here. How fast and how aggressively this blue line has gotten reaccumulated. If you guys are learning from this stuff and you guys are enjoying it, the best thing you can do to help the channel is just to press the like button. I know we have something like 5,500 people in here. I think yesterday we had 10,000 people in here, and that was because of you guys hitting the like button. When you hit the like, it shows the content to more and more viewers. So it really, really means a lot. Really, really means a lot. It super helps. It's the thing that gets this up to higher and higher numbers. And yes, I don't know why it goes up and down so much. We will find out. Maybe my content fluctuates that fast. All right. So jumping in here, what we really need to know is what happened yesterday. As always, we had a leveraged washout. We have $705 million in crypto liquidations within the last 24 hours. And that is exactly the formula that leads, that's from the greed, right? When people get greedy, they start leveraging long, they get liquidated. And when they all get liquidated, you get these violent price collapses. Them getting washed out and removing the greed from the ecosystem is absolutely one of the most healthy and I guess it's just a natural recovery, right? It's a cyclical recovery. And that's why we can't go too far too fast. Because once Bitcoin starts going up too fast, essentially people will get too leveraged and it washes the leverage out with a down move. The good news for you and for me is that it starts to feel like a blow off top would be harder to accomplish in this scenario. Looking back at 2017, we had a blow off top here where essentially you had the whole market go from about $5,000 up to $20,000 in about less than 4 weeks or something like that. That is monumental, massive growth. And especially since, it was the Thanksgiving weekend that things went from like 8K up to 20K. That was just crazy, crazy, crazy. And so what you need to know is that essentially, with these blow off tops, that's what creates these violent, pointy, massive, hard to recover from tops. Now, when you have nice, steady growth like we've had over the last few months and even throughout 2021, I mean, there was this really parabolic moment in January. And then since then, we had a less parabolic moment in February. And then it's been just like, everything's just been a grind since we got up here. And the more that it's a slow grind, the more likely it is to be sustainable long term. The slow grind is good. The slow grind actually allows for innovation to flourish, for tech to get shipped, for a liquidity floor to continually be raised. And the more that these things happen, the more that it is very, very apparent that we're going to extend the cycle. And once we kind of break, so once we get into like January, February, if we start continuing to bull after that in Bitcoin land, especially, it could be said that we're looking at either a lengthened cycle or a departure altogether from the 4-year cycle, maybe the super cycle. Again, that is the best scenario. And that would kind of invalidate some of my strategies of, taking bacon home for winter because there won't be winter, right? The reality, though, is that we don't know that. There's no data to support that yet. But this slow grind up is much better than us going immediately to 80K or 100K. That would be very, very unstable for price and potentially lead to a blow off top. So if you guys are liking the slow grind, if you think that it's good and healthy for the market, do us all a favor and smash that like button. I did want to talk about this because there is a Korean gaming studio called NCSoft that's price spiked 30%. Switching over now to a little bit of Metaverse news. Actually, let me get through some of these other updates here in the daily. I apologize. We also have the Bitcoin Taproot activation date is the same date as the spot US Bitcoin ETF decision. So maybe we'll get a spot Bitcoin ETF. I highly doubt it though, because obviously I just wouldn't be betting on the spot Bitcoin ETF. If we get a spot Bitcoin ETF though, things get absolutely kooky with the Taproot upgrade. It's a very, very strong set of fundamental factors. I would say Taproot's obviously guaranteed, but spot Bitcoin would be just too magical for one day. We also had some massive movement in new emerging chains. And so this is where you got to really take a look at projects like Thorchain, Phantom. You want to look at projects like remember Danielle Seste's Spell project, which we covered, and then it went like 30x. These types, and now it has a $2+ billion market cap. Well, these new protocols are going to go gigabull in the last act of the bull run, assuming it is the last act, or even during just the next act, right? So these new projects, like obviously Moonriver had its all-time high in transactions. If you look at this tweet, it's pretty gosh darn impressive what Moonriver has accomplished. Look at this transactions list. You can see that it's just completely skyrocketed in the amount of activity on chain. And that's a very good fundamental indicator. It's not the only one, but it's a good one. And so you see Mover obviously looking to move up in price as well. Like we've been saying, looking for these emerging protocols is usually where the biggest bang for your buck is. I highly recommend staying on layer 1 blockchains because that is the sort of lowest risk, highest reward combination. That's like the fusion zone, especially for the new investors out there. Remember, you could lose your hat. You could pretty much lose everything in any altcoin including Ethereum, which went from $1,400 down to $99 in the last bear market. Like everything is a risk. But now that we're in this high risk zone, usually the layer ones are the ones that really pump hard when there's mega bullishness and a lot of new entries into the market. So as people are coming in and flooding the market from the mainstream investment world, from TikTok, whatever it might be, those are the projects that are going to usually absorb a ton of liquidity. And then it goes into narratives, right? And of course, we are also looking at, I'll talk about airdrops in a second, but then it goes into narratives. Obviously, there's no hotter narrative in my mind than Metaverse gaming NFTs. This is, to me, one of the biggest things to be focused on. And it's sort of the thing that I'm starting to become more of a specialist in, because that is truly the area I see with the most amount of growth. But I'll save that for just a few minutes. Apparently, IDEX is doing an airdrop now. Quick Swap, Sushi Swap, Polygon. We have another. So the IDEX incentive plan is here. I'm sorry, I'm getting this wrong here. Yeah, so cool. So you're going to get Polygon IDEX tokens if you traded on Quick Swap, Sushi Swap, or Polygon Network before yesterday. This is the rules. Again, just showing you how much it pays to play here in crypto land. Looking at the ENS airdrop, looking at the DYDX airdrop, looking at the Uniswap airdrop, looking at every single airdrop we've seen, we're definitely knowing that there are 2 more airdrops in the future, which is MetaMask is definitely going to be doing an airdrop. And we believe OpenSea is also going to be doing an airdrop. I believe I have some information that they issued a SAFT in their last investment round. So I know that the tokenization is coming. So again, just showing you there's no more profitable place to be in the world than crypto, where you just get paid for just using things. You get paid for just experimenting with things. It's not going to be like this forever. It will not be like this forever, but it is like this during the golden era of Web3. And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And then we have Beeple selling something for like $30 million. Again, it just brings a lot of attention to NFTs. I think it also kind of sometimes brings a little, like, it's polarizing, right? I'm a big fan of Beeple. I just also think that it doesn't shine enough of a light on the community aspect, on the utility aspect. But it's nice to see that there's just so much love and attention for crypto artists. I would like to see much more mainstream media attention on the metaverse, mainstream media attention on gaming, and the projects that are actually going to fundamentally alter the course of our human history here in the digital world. So speaking of which, we have the South Korean game studio NCSoft getting a 30% spike amid plans to launch NFT games in 2022. Now, I will have a spoiler here. I am actually very well connected to the project that they're talking about here. I know the game, and I'm an investor in the game, and I'm going to be helping this game come to market. We haven't confirmed this. I'm actually not even going to say it, because they're launching on BSC. So for that reason, we're still working out whether or not there will be any ETH component to it. However, this is a very, very, very high quality game. I'm very excited for it. It's not going to be like fully properly out and ready until sort of middle 2022. But it's definitely a super high quality game release that I think pushes things, especially in the card auto battler type of world, or the card battler world. I think this is a real new generation that is going to completely shock people. So again, I promised you guys I'd be working with and helping bring you guys the absolute best video games in the industry. On top of course, Imposters, which is one of the biggest achievements, I think. I'm also going to be keeping you guys front of mind and making sure that this is the community that has the earliest and most important entries into metaverse projects, gaming projects, which I think are more important than metaverse projects today, as games will eventually make their way into the metaverse and have their own metaverses. The reality is that games to me are the next step. It is the big step. So the G word is what I'm more interested in than the M word. That said, we have Disney Plus wanting to become the happiest place in the metaverse. Of course, Disney can't stop itself from wanting to chase the clout and chase the hype. We have Nike, we have Disney, we have Twitter, we have Facebook, we have Discord, we have Reddit. At what point does it not matter what else happens? This is the tipping point. This is the future of the internet. It's so obvious. The only question is, have you placed your bets? Have you gotten yourself allocated to the right assets? And do you even understand how this stuff is going to work? Because the reality is that the metaverse, especially Disney's metaverse, will most likely be a place with no ownership, with no real openness, right? So the question is not really, are these good things or bad things? They're all great things, right? However, what we really, really need to know is that most of these quote unquote metaverses will have no concept of ownership, of privacy, of user driven worlds. That is the biggest component of the metaverse that we need to protect, which is the open, decentralized aspect. All of these are fantastic because they will create user growth. But what users then desperately will need is ownership, privacy, decentralization. These are the things that are the way the metaverse changes the course of human history, from a potentially dark and dystopian path to a potentially bright path with a ton of opportunities. This is all great, right? This is validation of the trend. But beyond validation of the trend, this is not the type of world that I want for our future metaverses. This is all we want is the users that love Disney. We don't really care about Disney's metaverse. And I mean, maybe my fiance does, but not me. So again, just massive news left, right, and center. We have the city of Miami giving Bitcoin wallets and paying them in Bitcoin using their treasury yield. This is some wild, wild stuff. We have the city of Miami about to pay Miami residents in Bitcoin. This is real. So it seems that the one-upsmanship, if that is a word, the one-upsmanship has started to reach astronomical new highs between the mayor of New York wanting to get paid in Bitcoin after the mayor of Miami said he was going to get paid in Bitcoin. And then now Miami says, okay, well, you're going to get paid in Bitcoin. We're going to pay everybody in Bitcoin. I mean, what a timeline we're on, guys. What a timeline. This is crazy. It's just amazing to see. Just to be clear, like when we started this channel and we had very few subscribers, and it was pretty much, this 2.5 year bear market where pretty much there was only losing of money for the most part over the course of this period. There was small moments of gains for Bitcoin. Very few other projects gained in 2019. And then for the most part, from the end of December 2017 to the middle of 2020, crypto had no adoption. It was generally considered that a crypto native project couldn't even survive. A lot of people thought, a lot of investors. And so now to see that every single company and every single project in the world is pushing metaverse, it's just quite an amazing place to be living. So big love to you guys all. This is just a huge opportunity for all of us, because as much as it feels like this ship is sailing and like we all made it and we're all going to make it, the reality is that we're so early, right? We still haven't had a Facebook-like moment. We still haven't had the user growth that's on par or even remotely comparable to like what Web 2 has had. One app, TikTok, has more users than all of crypto by about 100 times or more, probably more. So what we really need is to see what the actual important goals are, and it's user adoption and user growth, which is why these things like Disney's Metaverse and Facebook Meta and all these things are really good. Giving out crypto to people is really good just for living and breathing. Oh yeah, I thought this was funny. By the way, wasn't sure if you guys saw, but Discord effectively rugged their promise on Web3. We can see Kobe here had a great tweet on it. He said, so probably nothing equals actually nothing. And Jason Citron says, probably nothing. And he says, thanks for all the perspectives, everyone. We have no current plans to ship this internal concept. For now, we're focused on protecting users from spam, scams, and fraud. Web3 has a lot of good, but also has a lot of problems we need to work through at our scale more soon. Yeah, so disappointed backpedal, to say the least. Yeah, if you don't do it, someone else will. Pretty much making a decentralized version of Discord is happening. I actually invested in a project that's doing it. To a certain degree, though, I believe that the social features coming, and I don't want to spill too many beans here because I'm so excited about this, but I believe that the social features coming to the Superfarm NFT marketplace are going to really help give people a sense of community that Discord currently is giving. And so, yeah, let's just say probably nothing, but maybe something. And I'm super excited to explain it. This to me, I love the users. But again, you see here that these companies have what we call the innovator's dilemma. Where is it? Let me get back to that. So the innovator's dilemma is where essentially here, get back here. So the innovator's dilemma, which is grabbing Discord back from Web3, is essentially the thing that stops a company from innovating because it potentially threatens their underlying business model. We're seeing this with gaming projects. We're seeing this with video games, very much so have the innovator's dilemma. Fortnite cannot just put in crypto and NFTs without potentially risking um, the underlying business model that gives them billions of dollars, I think, per quarter, right? Fortnite is one of the biggest businesses in history, and they make all that money based off their free-to-play upgrades with skins. Now, introducing scarcity and true ownership to those skins would completely change the model, and allowing for users effectively to sell skins to each other wildly changes the model. That is where we get essentially the innovator's dilemma, where having having the opportunity to innovate that threatens something by innovating leaves you with the dilemma where essentially other people come and take out that opportunity. And that's why I'm so passionate about game developers developing from within the blockchain space, because those big developers aren't going to do it because it threatens what they currently have going. We saw this with Steam, and we'll continue to see things like this. That's why I believe that this current class of blockchain games is something that needs to be supported with the full weight of the industry, because those games can get so big that they can either acquire other property and IP and teams, or just get big enough to release their own sort of AAA products that are on the scale of competing with those existing behemoths. Nonetheless, it's still amazing times that we're even having these conversations openly like this. It's just fantastic. We also have Rand coming in explaining how he keeps buying back at higher prices and saying don't chase short-term profit. This is true. It's also one of those things where you got to be careful, because a lot of new people to the industry need to, if you have $10,000, $20,000, and that's a lot of money for you, then consider taking some profits. Just because if the bear market rolls around, then you'll have thousands of dollars that you can invest in something you believe in, and then you can hold it for a significant amount of time. A lot of people, maybe this is money that if they lost it would completely ruin their lives. So understanding if you have a significant amount of profit, there's no shame in taking profits, and being rational about how you work your way through this industry is a very, very smart thing to do. It's a very, very smart thing to do. Anyway, well, the point of the stream was mostly to vibe out, to celebrate 500,000 subscribers. The market looks like it's about to explode upward with another wild amount of gains here in crypto land, in altcoins, in Bitcoin, the whole gamut. And I believe what happens after all of those things settle, the market maybe feels a little dead again. I believe NFTs, it will be back to their time to shine, and especially NFTs within video games. So let's go ahead and hop in and answer some questions. Shout out to everyone who's talking about Super Farm, talking about Spell, talking about all the coins that we love here on the channel. Wow, the chat is very lively today. Big love to everybody. Keep feeding us the alpha. I will. Thoughts on Elrond? It's a solid project. It's a very solid project. It's like an L1 that will pump during L1 season. Do I have any advice for taking profits? I do have advice for taking profits. The easy way to do this is something called, and I'll do this on here. Let me actually get out a notepad and do it here. It'll be easier for you to see it. It's called the 10, 20, okay, let me bring this up to you. I just created a little text document for this. Here we go. So I have a system that I created. It's super complex. It's patented. So don't you steal this, Steve Jobs. May he rest in peace. It's called the 10, 20, 30, 40. This adds up to you math geniuses to 100%. Okay. So 10%, you want to put it in Bitcoin, 20% in ETH, 30% stays in the coin, and 40% is your pool of funds for next apes, or for the next stuff that you ape into. Now, this works really cleanly on a 5x or above. However, if you can do this at any point, right? However, 5 to 10x, anything above that, and I know a lot of people are sitting on those levels of profits. That's definitely a strategy here, because what essentially you leave in is by keeping 30% in, in a 5x, you end up with about 1.5 times what you started with. If you get a 10x, then you end up with 3 times what you started with in the coin. But then you end up with a nice little split of Bitcoin and Ethereum. You just always want Bitcoin and Ethereum. Those are the 2 most likely coins to go up in the whole market. Next, you have this is the most important. You have 40%. Now you can keep this in ETH or USDC. I personally tend to do USDC because it's easier for me to keep track of like what's my dry powder and what's my hodls. But to be honest, during a bullish momentum, taking it into ETH is rarely a bad idea. So this can go into either stables or ETH. The smart, more risk on people will do ETH, but there's no shame in taking this 40% into stables. Now, this becomes, as you do this more and more times, this becomes a pretty sizable amount of money. Say you put in 10K and it went 5, 10X. This right here becomes a $40,000 investment fund, right? And you still have more Bitcoin, more Ethereum, and a huge amount of the coin left. So this is a way that I sort of have like, this is like a easy way. But again, this is still oversimplified. The best way to do is to ladder in and ladder out. You do percentage distribution into Bitcoin, ETH, and stables, and then you ladder out over time and you ladder in over time. That's the way to do it. This is too complex for me to communicate right here, and it depends so much on each coin. But an easy thing to say is, hey, look, if I'm staring down the barrel of several X's, let me just run a 10, 20, 30, 40, and I've been diversified and I feel ready to then reinvest. And I know that my 40 is where I'm pulling from for my new investment opportunities. Does that make sense to you guys? Let me know in the chat if that makes sense to you guys. Thanks for all the GMs. Thanks for all the shouts. Lots of love in the chat. I appreciate you guys. EllioTrades NFT utility. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of EllioTrades NFT utility coming up. The EllioTrades collection, to me, first of all, artistically, there's something so special about the EllioTrades. I think it's one of the coolest sort of art worlds that's been created. I'm just a sucker for cyberpunk stuff. Secondly, those Genesis cards will be getting utility both on the Superfarm platform as well as some other very, very interesting hidden gems for you guys, including a new collection that I will be dropping to the EllioTrades holders. So that is going to be, it's still working on the art for that. Again, I'm kind of a perfectionist with art. Look, you can make art about anything, but I'm a genuine believer that what we're doing here, the communities we're building, the amount of IP that's really blockchain native here, I see the EllioTrades world as kind of like my art project, right? Where not only am I going to interact with it on a very functional level with the community, a token gated Discord, I'm going to be doing special things for like legendary holders, epic holders, rare holders, and uncommon. The rarities will associate with different privileges. However, the reality is that I have huge plans for this over the future, and I'm going to keep steam. Everything I do, I reinvest like every penny that I've ever made into the content, into hiring more people to work on the games, into new NFTs, into just like everything I do. I want to keep growing. I want to keep steamrolling what we've already created here, which is something so special. I mean, the amount of value that's been created for the community through all of these projects is just astounding to me. Like I can't add it up. The numbers are way too big. But I believe that just by having a laser focus on you, especially the people who have been so bold as to support one of my projects, you guys are the ones who keep me motivated, who keep me sort of laser focused throughout the day. So I want to say a big thank you to you guys. You've had a huge impact on my life. I hope I've had a good impact on yours. And again, it's really just the beginning. Every time we reach over a new plateau, you can see more into the horizon and you realize what the next sort of hilltop to climb is. You never look back, you never look down, you only look up. Obviously, a little bit, we looked back today, but the point here is that, what we're building is going to be a serious, powerful group of users here in the next iteration of the internet. I know, because some of the biggest fundraisers, some of the biggest VCs, some of the most important power brokers in the traditional world, in the business world, in the digital world, come to me. And all they want is to get access to you guys. All they want is for me to give them access to you. And almost never allow for that to happen. Even though there's a ton of money being offered to me for doing that stuff, I've had a hard and fast rule that I just don't do that, right? And so the reality is that the trust that I've built with you, the relationship we've built here and through the content, I consider that the most special thing, one of the most special things that's ever happened in my life. And so I have plans to keep adding value to this community through NFTs, through opportunities, through insights, through content. And it's just the beginning. It really is just the beginning. And we're scaling up to entirely new heights right now. So it's a very, very exciting time to be a part of this community. Make sure you guys are subscribed with that bell notification on, because we're not stopping. As always, I just want to say thank you guys so much. If you guys enjoyed this, this was a little bit of a different type of episode celebrating 500K. I rarely get to do this kind of stuff. And we'll be back with the regularly scheduled programming tomorrow. However, I'd appreciate it if you all got together as a 500K gift for me and smash that like button. We'll be announcing the winner of the 500K giveaway very soon. Make sure you join. Make sure you enter to win. It's right there in the description. And as always, if you're not subscribed, you're missing out. I'm EllioTrades. You can find me at EllioTrades on Twitter, and I'll see you very soon on the next episode. Oh, actually, I got a bunch of super chats. Few things. Do I think Fidenza floor will hold 89 ETH? I don't know. I bought a Fidenza for a very long period investment. It went through a mania phase, but after Coinbase adds NFTs, I'm expecting a big return to some of those blue chips. I think Fidenza is something that will prove itself out over a longer period of time. It's like a 5+ year hold for me. Do I think that max USDC that I'd stake or keep on exchange in a bear market? It's a really hard question to answer. I don't keep much on exchanges ever. But you know, the reality is that Coinbase and those are pretty safe. I've definitely become one of your favorite content creators. Thank you. Thank you. If you had 15K diversified, is it better to sell and reinvest in only a few projects? Oops, I did not mean to bring Ada up there. Sorry about that. Yeah, look, like if you have high conviction in the projects, then hold on to them. I think that the things that are most important right now are metaverse and gaming projects, as well as key DeFi projects and L1s. I've made that pretty clear. But at the same time, if you have a project you think is super undervalued, then stick with it, because it'll probably pump during the last act of the bull run. What you really want to be figuring out is preparing yourself for the next sort of cooling effect on the market, which happens all the time, and being ready to capitalize and have a plan for what you're going to do when the next bearish crash, pullback, whatever it might be, whenever there's another freeze on the market, which always happens in cycles, be ready to act then. That's when the most important actions will happen. What happens if I break up with my girlfriend? Will that NFT get less attention? No, I have no plans to break up with my girlfriend. She is now my fiance, and we are to be wed not too distant future from now. So certainly no plans to break up. And yeah, I would assume that even if we did, which we won't, the NFT would still be the most valuable, because it's just awesome. Who doesn't like DGen waifu? With that said, thank you all so much for coming, and I'll see you very soon on the next episode.